And I want to acknowledge at this time the presence of the Honorable Minister, Kozia Frederick, and Parliamentary Representative for the Salibe constituency, Kalinago Chief Lorenzo Sanford, our Chief Cultural Officer, Mr. Matthew, Mr. Prosper Paris, Cultural Officer in the Division of Kalinago Affairs, Mr. Patrick Hill, Mr. Luis Patrick Hill, Coordinator of the Kalinago Economic Symposium. We also have before us the manager of the Kalinago Barona Ote, Mrs. Gwyneth Frederick. We have coordinator of the 120 initiative, Mr. Devon Coffey. Senior technical advisor, Mr. Hunter, Edgar Hunter. Mr. Yohan James. Other government officials, members of the media, invited guests, listeners tuning via the social media platform, good morning. I also want to recognize Ms. Dominica, who is in the house with us. She is working, but we want to acknowledge her presence this morning. As part of the celebration of the 120 years of the establishment of the Kalinago territory, let me welcome all of you to this highly anticipated launch event of the 2023 Kalinago Week, which is scheduled to run from the 16th of September to the 23rd of September 2023. We are gathered here today to start with a bang, 7 days of activity for Kalinago Week. This year, we are celebrating under the theme, Our Foothold, Our Land, Foothold of Our Survival. We are setting the stage today, so get yourself ready, get prepared. Kalinago Week is an annual event which began on September 18th, 1981, that is 42 years ago, which marks a critical event in the history of we, the indigenous people of Dominica. The Kalinago Uprising of September 1930. If you recall, the riot left several Kalinagos hurt, and Mr. Dudley John and Mr. Roy Frederick, respectively, were shot dead. Today we are happy that through the efforts of our son of the soil, the Honorable Kozia Frederick, this year's Kalinago Week will form part of Dominica's independence celebration. We are happy to invite everyone to the Kalinago territory from the 16th to the 23rd of September 2023 to our unique event of activities to experience the rich culture, the tradition, and of course, have a lasting memory. We have a homestay program in the Kalinago territory, so don't say the Kalinago territory is too far. So you need to book your reservation early and to spend 2 or 3 days in the Kalinago territory. I am informing you very early that we are letting you know of the week of activities so you can mark your calendar early and save the date you will like to visit the Kalinago territory and be part of this exciting experience. At this time, I would call on Kalinago Chief, Mr. Lorenzo Sanford, for welcome remarks.
Honorable Kozia Frederick, Minister of Environment, Kalinago Upliftment and Constituency Empowerment, and the Parliamentary Representative of the Salibe constituency, Mr. Louis Patrick Hill, Coordinator, Kalinago Economic Forum, Mr. Prosper Paris, Cultural Officer and Chair of the Kalinago Events Committee, our Development Officer, Mr. Donaldson Frederick, Ms. Gwyneth Frederick, Manager of the Kalinago Barona Ote, Mr. Wilson Matthew, Chief Cultural Officer, Ms. Alicia Burton, Dominica's Queen, the media, ladies and gentlemen, Mabrika. It is an honor to have you here with us today for our media launch on celebrating our Kalinago Week and our 120 years since the establishment of our cherished land. Our theme this year, Our Land, foothold of our survival, resonates deeply with the core of our existence. It reminds us of the profound significance our land holds in sustaining our community and safeguarding our distinctive heritage. Throughout this week, we are set to embark on a journey of cultural enrichment and celebration. From cultural performances to exquisite display of traditional arts and the appetizing culinary experiences, there is a treasure buildup of delights awaiting each and every one of you. As we come together, let us reflect on the remarkable resilience and enduring strength of the Kalinago people. Our land is more than just a physical space. It is the very foundation of our identity, a blessed place that has provided generations with a sense of belonging. I extend a warm invitation to each of you to immerse yourselves in the wealth of our culture, to witness firsthand the beauty that lies within the heart of the Kalinago territory. To this is an opportunity not only to witness history, but to be part of it, to forge connections that will echo through time. Let us celebrate in a spirit of unity and togetherness. Let us honor the legacy of those who have come before us and to pave a way for those who will follow. Together, we shall forge a path that will celebrate the riches of our past while embracing the promise of our future. In closing, I want to express my deepest gratitude to all who have worked tirelessly to bring this event to life. Your dedication and passion have made this celebration possible, and for that, we are grateful. Let us embark on this journey of discovering celebration with open hearts and minds, as we pay homage to the land that has been our steadfast companion for over a century. May this week be filled with moments of joy, enlightenment, and above all, a deep sense of belonging. Mabrika and welcome.
Thank you very much, Kalinago Chief Obutu Lorenzo Sanford. I also want to acknowledge the presence of PS Valmont, also in the house with us. Thank you for coming. At this time, we will move to the program of activities for the week. This week is a meaningful event which is vital in building awareness and protecting the identity and cultural heritage of our indigenous brothers and sisters. So we will start on Saturday, September 16th at 4 p.m. with a Wiku Juve. And that will start at the Sensi community and we'll move on to Bataka where it will end. On Sunday 17th at 10 a.m. we will have a memorial service at the Salibia Catholic Church in Salibia in recognition of our fallen heroes. And on Monday 18th, 9 a.m. we'll be having school lectures and we will go to all of the schools in the Kalinago territory from Atkinson, Concord, Salibia, Sineku, the Christian Lighthouse Academy, and we'll be having lectures there. One of the main features is our Honorable Minister. He's a historian by profession and he will be part of that delegation as well as the Kalinago Council and Chief. On Tuesday 19th, which is the special day, we will have a smoke ceremony at the 1930 memorial site in Sensi. That's the site where the two individuals were shot. Later in the afternoon at 4 p.m. we will be having a naming ceremony, and we will be doing that naming ceremony at the Kalinago Barana Hotel. On Wednesday, 20th September, is a very important day. At 9 a.m. we will commence with a Kalinago Economic Forum, which will be held at the Kalinago Barana Hotel. On Thursday, 21st September 2023, at 10 a.m. we will be having the Kalinago Spelling Bee competition and Kalinago Dress Day. So we expect all of the residents of the Kalinago territory and residents outside the Kalinago territory to also participate in wearing your Kalinago dress on that day. The activity itself for the spelling bee competition will be held at the Concord Primary School. And on Saturday, the 23rd of September, 2023, from 3 p.m. is another interesting day where we will be celebrating, or we will be honoring our Kalinago brave, our sister, Sylvanie Burton. We will be having a special celebration for her at the KBA, at the Kalinago Barona Ote, and at 7 p.m. we'll be having the closing, which will culminate the activities for the week, as we will do that by having what we call cuisine and a band splash. So on that evening we will be having a very special night for the closing, band splash. So we're inviting everyone to turn out to support the activities for the week. And I also want to thank the events committee for planning this week, because planning takes a lot of time, so we want to thank them. Mrs. Frederick is part of the committee as well, some of the members here with us. And our former permanent secretary in the Ministry of Environment, Rural Modernization, Kalinago Upliftment and Constituency Empowerment, Mrs. Sylvanie Burton, we also want to thank her because she played a critical role in the planning process as well. So this will be the week of activities for Kalinago Week. Without no further ado, I want to call on Mr. Prosper Paris, who is the cultural officer and also the chair of the Kalinago Events Committee, who will give us a briefing on the key activity, which is the Wiku Juve and Miss Kalinago Show 2023.
Mabrika, thank you, Chair Frederick, Honorable Kuzedaro, Frederick, members of the media, manager of KBA, Miss Dominica right here with a beautiful smile, the other members of the head table. Again, we are here to enlighten the media on activities that would be part of a Kalinago Week. As you know, it is an annual event. And thank you for Mr. Donaldson here, which Frederick will give you detail of the calm down of the different activities of the week. I'm concentrating on two main activities. Well, maybe I'll give you a third one. It will deal with the waiku. Waiku is a dress, right? The lion cloth, and the wiku is a drink. So two of them can be part of the big celebration. So we can drink wiku while we wear a waiku, and we can also use the kuku. Three things Kalinago that we're going to wear on that day. It's the first time we're going to do that in a form of a juve, and that will give you an opportunity for people to jump in the morning and to exercise in the morning, also early morning, depending on the time or the weather. So it's a really long stretch. We are starting from Sensi, a resource center that will cover almost about 4 miles of road to Bataka, and with music, of course, very good DJ sound. The DJ Repeats and the rest of the boys will be there to entertain us with music. And so you can wear your waiku. Those of you, it is lion cloth, you can wear over your jeans or your shorts, whatever, or nothing under if you like to. But it will give you, that is the real spirit of the Kalinago warriors. So we want you to really to enjoy that part of it, to really get going on the morning of Saturday. That is the Juve in Waiku. So we're going to do from the Sensory Resource Center to Bataka, and arrive Bataka. We hopefully would have vendors there to provide us with a coffee, with a ginger tea, with our different bakes, our sauce, our codfish, and different Kalinago delicacies, breakfast at the Bataka. So we're inviting not only vendors from the Kalinago territory, but even close by, and you have something very special to offer, is an open invitation for you. We need something to eat, we need water along the way. The people who have stalls and shops along the way, are inviting them to open up early and prepare so that we can patronize your business on our way down. And then so we will reach Bataka, then we can have a good time there. So that goes for the Juve in Waiku. Then on the night is our traditional Miss Kalinago pageant, which is organized by the Karina Cultural Group. It is a baby project of the Karina Cultural Group for many, many years. And this year they're back again with 4 beautiful girls taking part, and it will be from 8 at the Karina Cultural Village. This year the different main event for the girls to participate will be in spectacular wear, the Waiku wear, the native wear, and they also have talent. So you're going to fill up with those beautiful original Kalinago wear, and we also have side performers and guest performers by the Karina Cultural Group itself, and DJs and other people who do singing, talent, very good in doing this side act. And we will also have the honor of having Tasha P here doing one of the closing ceremony. So it's a very compact show. It will be held at the Karina Cultural Village, and it is only $10 for adults, $5. So we want everyone to be here. The price that it is very is a giveaway. But it's not only that, we want people to come and support the girls. As you know, we had wonderful people over the years to take part, and we were fortunate last year that we had our Miss Kalinago coming to become Miss Dominica. So it is really a stepping stone from moving from one end to the other. We have had the criteria being raised because the show we had last year with Mr. Kalinago to Miss Dominica, so you expect the show to be as a very high standard. So we're inviting all of the residents of the Kalinago territory, for neighboring villages and Dominica on a whole, to be part of the Karina Miss Kalinago 2023 pageant. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prosper Paris, for giving us a synopsis of the program of activity for that day. We really want to thank you for that. At this time, I will call on Mr. Louis Patrick Hill, coordinator of the Kalinago Economic Forum, to give us a briefing of this very important activity for the Kalinago territory. Let's put our hands together.
Mabrika. Obutu Sanford, who is our chief. I just want to recognize and honor him today. My brother Shibutu, but most formally known as Minister Hosea Frederick. I just want to honor and recognize him this morning. I see we have a very distinguished permanent secretary, Ms. Valman, with us today. And she's with tourism, and I'm very happy that she's here because what I am going to address has significant relevance to tourism. Of course, we have the most beautiful Kalinago Queen, Adicia. We're very happy that you could join us. Gwyneth, the KBA manager and our counselor. Members of the press, most importantly, and all of the viewing and listening audience, because I understand that this is being carried live, so I want to greet all of the persons, Dominicans, and people who are abroad. I'm sure we must be speaking to people in the diaspora and all over the world. So welcome to this very important briefing this morning on the remembrance of a historic event. The Kalinago territory, when it was designated in 1903, was essentially ignored and left to its own thing for decades after its establishment in 1903. So while other places in Dominica were being developed and infrastructure was being built, schools, hospitals, roads, electricity, water, the territory was pretty much ignored for decades. So it wasn't till the 1970s, 80s that some attention began to be focused on the territory. As a result of this, as a result of the territory being ignored for so long, many ills sort of came out of that. So we had an education, a population that wasn't well educated, with a healthcare system that was nil to nothing, with infrastructure that was dismal. We had schools that were not meeting the needs of students. So because of a whole host of decisions and inaction by numerous governments, the territory finds itself in an economic situation that is not good in comparison to the rest of the country. So the purpose of this economic symposium that we are going to have on the 20th of this month as part of the overall celebration of Kalinago Week, we want to do something that hasn't been done in the past. And that is to develop a strategic plan for how the economic development of the territory should be addressed. Many of you who are familiar with the territory would know that we have always had this land tenure issue. Because we are a communal community, we have no capacity or ability to go to a bank and to get credit, to build a shop, to buy a car, to build a house, to do anything, which is something that is available to all of the rest of Dominica, except for the Kalinago territory. Even to the point that civil servants who so happen to be born and live in the Kalinago territory cannot go to the bank to get a mortgage like every other civil servant in this country can do. So we have significant challenges when it comes to economic development. So if you look at the overall development of this country, the civil servants are the middle class of Dominica. The policemen, the firemen, the teachers, the nurses, all of those persons in the different communities would have a beautiful house. They would have a car. They would have maybe a small business on the side. But unfortunately in the Kalinago territory, the civil servants have none of these things. They still live to a large extent in poverty, until most recently when the government has engaged in this really progressive housing initiative, which is beginning to solve the housing challenge that we have had for over 100 years. So the economic symposium is put in place and has come about so we can begin to talk about what are the things that are necessary for our economic development, for our self-sufficiency, for economic independence, for this generation and future generations. Our ancestors we are honoring today and honoring in the week to come gave us a patrimony that no other Dominicans have, and that is land. We have land. So this symposium seeks to look at how do we use this asset that we have to create an economic engine for this and future generations. So there are three pillars that we're going to look at during the summit. The first one is tourism. And the permanent secretary is here, and I'm really happy she's here, and I expect that she will attend the economic symposium on Wednesday. As most Dominicans would know, every time Dominica advertises tourism in the media, in social media, in advertisements and whatever, one of the first things you see is the face of a Kalinago, the beautiful Kalinago face, or the beautiful Kalinago craft, or something in reference to the Kalinago. But the fact of the matter is that although we have played such a significant role in the marketing of tourism in Dominica, the territory has not seen any significant returns for the role that it has played. So how do we harness this gift, this patrimony that has been left and given to us by our ancestors? Tourism is one of the avenues we should and we can use. The Kalinago Bar na Ute, built many years ago, had a mission to essentially engage and attract cruise tourism to the territory. But it has failed miserably to live up to its potential. So how do we now take this gift, this facility that has been in existence for many years, and maximize its potential in the cruise tourism business? If you look at the Kalinago territory, right on its border, there is a business that is extremely successful in the cruise business. It was established on the borders of the territory, I believe, for the sole purpose of exploiting the Kalinago culture, tradition, for its purpose and for creating profit. But the Kalinago people have benefited very little from that business. So we have a couple jobs as tour guides, and maybe the cultural groups go down and do a dance and something like that. But the economic benefit is minimal. So the question is, why do we have this beautiful Kalinago Bar na Ute built as a facility to attract cruise tourism, not be able to be run professionally as a business, as a corporation, as a profitable business? So that is one of the critical items that we are going to look at. How do we turn the Kalinago Bar na Ute into a profitable business that manages its own tours? So rather than having other tour companies bring a tourist to us and then pay a minimal fee to just enter, why can't we, as a territory, as the Kalinago Bar na Ute, establish a tour operating company that creates its own tours, markets its own tours, sells its own tours to the cruise ships themselves, thereby giving us direct access to the revenues to be generated from that business. So this is the first item, and a critical and important item that we will be examining on Wednesday. Secondly, we want to look at the issue of overnight stays in the territory. One of the things, again, the challenges that we face is the fact that there are no real hotels or professional housing establishments in the territory where overnight tourists can stay. And anybody who is in the tourism business knows that where the money is in the overnight stay. When people stay in your place, they spend, they pay their rent, they buy food from the restaurant, they buy gifts, they do whatever. So we feel that it is time, it is past time, that the territory become a destination that has a facility, a resort, a hotel, Airbnbs that can attract overnight tourists to stay there, so we can benefit from the revenues that are generated from this business. There are hotels, and we're happy that there are many hotels being built all over Dominica. Soufriere, we have Jungle Bay, we have Kempinski, we have Nanichi, we have one in Trafalgar, there are many hotels. The Kalinago community and the leadership in the territory today believe that we are very well positioned to have a resort built and operated in the Kalinago territory. We must give credit to the Prime Minister and the government for having invested $1 million in the Iwasi retreat several years ago, and that business was actually doing very well until Hurricane Maria destroyed it completely. So we know that there is potential. We are very close to the airport. We will be close to the international airport. We are already being marketed worldwide. The KBA is already worldwide, is known worldwide. We have all of the elements in place to make tourism, both cruise tourism and overnight tourism, a very successful business venture in the Kalinago territory, and we want to explore that on Wednesday. We have some very significant persons speaking to these issues on Wednesday. On the cruise tourism issue, we have invited Mr. Benoit Badwil from the Port Authority. He may be the most versed person, I think, on the issue of cruise tourism and how we can go about establishing that business in the territory, and he's our keynote speaker on that particular subject. On the overnight stays, we have invited Mr. Sam Raphael, and he has accepted from the Jungle Bay Resort to give us his personal experience on how to go about establishing a resort. And we have also invited a very distinguished man from Guadeloupe, Dr. Pierre St. Louis, who owns the Arawak Hotel in Guadeloupe. It's a hotel that has, I believe, 115 rooms. He is a distinguished doctor throughout the region in the healthcare industry, and he also owns the hotel. He has been a great supporter of the Kalinago culture and tradition and its history, and we're really delighted that he's going to be joining us on Wednesday to give us his perspective on how to establish this type of business on the regional, international level. So we're very, very excited to have him participate on Wednesday. So that's for tourism. The other segment that we are going to explore is agriculture. We all know that since the banana industry was decimated because of the World Trade Organization ruling, the territory has never fully recovered in its agricultural pursuits and its ability to produce things, produce on a commercial level that would sustain the farmers' livelihood. So the question is why? Why have we not developed a strategy that specifically addresses agriculture as a profitable business? So we want to look at that. We want to look at the production of high value crops, nutmeg, vanilla, cinnamon, other things that have high value, mangosteen, those types of exotic fruits. So we want to begin to explore that. The minister, to his credit, has very recently been negotiating and collaborating with the French community in Marie-Galante and Guadeloupe, the agricultural market. The other thing we want to take a look at also is beekeeping and honey. Sanford, to his credit, as a non-profit group, has introduced beekeeping into the territory. We have 3,700 acres of land for bees to roam and to feed. And beekeeping is something that doesn't require a whole lot of labor, but it has a high return if you're successful in the business. So we want to explore that and to see how that can be beneficial to the development, to the economic development of the territory. Additionally to that, we have fishing. If you go down to Marigot at the fisheries, the majority of people fishing out of Marigot are Kalinago people, Kalinago fishermen. How can we use this potential for fish export to the French islands? How can we harness our fishermen, organize them into a group that becomes a business and operated so that it is profitable and creates a better quality of life for those participating in it. So we want to examine that also. Finally, we want to take a look at the financing. So we have invited to this economic symposium the Aid Bank, the CBI, the Citizenship by Investment program, because we believe that numerous hotels around that are being built in the country have benefited from the CBI, and we believe that it is fair for the Kalinago territory to benefit also from the CBI as it relates to hotel development in the Kalinago territory. So we have invited the persons from the CBI, the director, to come. We've also invited the NCCU, who is the credit union, who has an interest because they're located in our neighboring, well, we have two credit unions on the borders in Castlebrooks and in Marigot. But we have also invited the NCCU to come because we have many Kalinago people who are members, and we want to see whether it's possible for us to have our own financial institution in the Kalinago territory, whether it's a credit union or whatever type of institution it is, so that our people can do their transactions there rather than having to pay a bus to go to Marigot, pay a bus to go to Roseau, pay a bus to Castlebrooks. We would like to be able to focus and generate some financial activity in the Kalinago territory itself. Additionally, we have invited Ms. Cheryl Landerole, who is executive at an insurance company, because it's going to require, particularly the cruise initiative that we are exploring is going to require significant insurance coverage, because that's one of the things I think that has always sort of created a setback, because I think a lot of people has always felt that we can't afford the insurance, we don't know how to insure, whatever. So we have invited Mrs. Roll to come up, and incidentally, Mrs. Roll herself is a Kalinago person. So we're happy to have her come up and share her expertise on how we can utilize the insurance industry to protect the businesses that will hopefully be generated out of this economic symposium that we are hosting on the 20th of September, this coming Wednesday, as part of the Kalinago Week. Thank you so much for your participation here today, for you being here, for covering this event, and we hope to be able to answer some questions at the appropriate time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Louis Patrick Hill. Really, thank you for that. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to invite the parliamentary representative for the Salebe constituency, the Honorable Kozia Frederick, to give brief remarks. Chancellor.
Thank you very much, Frederick. Officer from the Ministry of an officer, Kalinago Cultural Officer, Prosper Paris, Ms. Dominica, Alice Britain, the manager of the KBA, the coordinator of the 120 initiative, staff from the Ministry of Environment, the media, and more especially the viewers and listeners to our program this morning. We are celebrating 100 days of the Kalinago space, and we're also celebrating a significant part of that history, and we speak to the uprising in 1930. So it's very important for us to have celebrations, and they're all important for many reasons. One of the key reasons we realize is that we do have an opportunity to do some cultural preservation. And so Dominica's Kalinago heritage is grounded in Kalinago culture. And so it is important to highlight those aspects of the heritage and promote them. And not only for this generation, but for many generations to come. And it appears to us that during various points of our history, parts of that heritage have been fading away. So it's very, very important that we preserve that culture. another important piece of the celebration is recognizing and respecting that heritage. A crucial part of it, because we're hoping that our celebrations will provide an opportunity for everyone across the white Equilibrium space to acknowledge, first and foremost, the importance of the historical context that made our country what it is today. And also, more importantly, the contributions of the indigenous community. Very, very important. And so we're hoping that with our celebrations this year, and with the important piece of the economic symposium, that we will foster some respect for the knowledge and for the wisdom, and more importantly, for the resilience of the Kalinago people. To a very large extent, across the world, indigenous people have been met with a lot of injustice. And we want, and we will continue to promote during the celebrations, what I would like to term a time of healing and reconciliation. It's very important because we hope that, one, we'll acknowledge that there were wrongs done, first and foremost, and work together as a Dominican society to ensure there's equity across the cultural lines. So very, very important. An important piece of the celebrations tied in with the cultural dances, the drumming sessions, the renaming ceremonies, the Wiku and Waiku festival is an important piece dealing with education and awareness. More than ever, in our ever-changing society, we have to have an opportunity to engage in a profound educational drive. And so, across the divide, we have a diverse population, and we have to make people aware of the challenges, the historical wrongs, and the history faced by the Kalinago nation. And I believe it will lead to a certain greater understanding of what we do, and also a sense of empathy for the way forward. Important in all of this, friends, is that within the constructs of the Kalinago Week, we'll have an opportunity for cultural exchange. And we are in a creolized society, meaning that we have learned, or we have adapted from European customs, African customs, and Kalinago customs. So it's an opportunity for us to share that exchange. So we are inviting everyone to this space. So it's an open invitation to the Kalinago space to ensure that people from various backgrounds, various color, creed, races, religions can participate and learn from what we have to offer. And for the most part, you will realize that at the end of the exercise, that a big part of that heritage is part of you as a white Equilibrium society member. And so across the divide, we hope to have a very good dialogue, a very good conversation. How do we preserve culture? How do we keep it intact? But how do we modernize, and how do we treat the culture in an ever-changing global society? But the most important piece for me today is the empowerment of the Kalinago people. And by the very name, I am the Minister for Kalinago Upliftment and Empowerment. And that means that we have to find opportunities to ensure that people within the space have an opportunity to grow and be equal members of our wonderful white Equilibrium society. So it's very, very important that this celebration that we have this year empower our own people, and that they first and foremost understand their critical role in the country's development, and also their own role in developing themselves. So while we are aware that there are historical wrongs, while we are aware that there are parts of history that were very distasteful and didn't help us along the way, we are also mindful that as a nation we have a responsibility to take charge of our destiny. And that's why the important piece of the symposium comes in, because we will not continue to sound the call as a victim. We will continue to grow and make lives better. And so celebrating